and the world. Compiled in the Newstalk Radio Newsroom and powered by DemeraraWaves.com.
Good day with your major newscast. I am Jessica Daw. First with the highlights. Guyanese authorities say that the ship held in Senegal with $5 million worth of ammunition was not registered in Guyana and is not coming here. Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro has cancelled his visit to Guyana because his mother died. The town clerk tells the mayor that he is wrong on the 2021 subvention to the city. In the region, Barbados' Mia Mottley was sworn in for a second straight term after Wednesday's clean sweep of all 30 seats. The spread of the Omicron variant in St. Martin appears to be slowing down. And internationally, we will be bringing you the latest bulletin coming from the BBC. Do stay tuned.
Advertise with us on Newstalk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM for best coverage on programs on motivation, beauty and health, parenting and relationships, knowing your rights, and a variety of enlightening content, and get value for your money. Call our helpful staff today on 223-1056 or 223-1041 today.
Now for the news in detail. A cargo ship carrying 3 shipping containers laden with $5 million worth of ammunition is not registered in Guyana and is not due here. That's according to the Maritime Administration, MARAD. MARAD also says that the MOV Eoleka is not listed in Guyana's local ships registry, and it is believed that registration documents were issued by International Maritime Safety Agency of Guyana, IMSAG. According to MARAD, it severed all ties with IMSAG since August last year. MARAD made known its position after a number of vessel tracking systems showed that the MV Eoleka was due to arrive in Guyana from Dakar, Senegal on January 28 after passing through the Caribbean. MARAD said it has since notified all regional and international bodies and organizations of the effective termination of all arrangements with IMSAG. According to MARAD, since then, several vessels have been detained in various ports for false registration documents. The maritime regulator assures that it will continue to actively monitor this incident and will spare no effort in protecting the image of the Guyana flag. Guyanese police say that they have launched a probe into the seizure of the ammunition aboard the purportedly Guyana-flagged vessel in Dakar, Senegal. Police say they are working with regional and international law enforcement agencies and have altered the Interpol General Secretariat. Guyanese police say they want Interpol to assist with the questioning of one Sunil Kumar, Chief Executive Officer of International Maritime Safety Agency of Guyana, that is involved in the registration of motor vessels. MARAD cut all ties with that entity last year. Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro has cancelled his visit to Guyana. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Elizabeth Harper, confirmed that he will not be coming to Guyana today because his mother has died. President Irfan Ali's office says that he extends heartfelt sympathy to his colleague on his sad loss. Brazilian media report that his mother, Olinda Bonturi Bolsonaro, died early Friday in the city of Sao Paulo after being hospitalized last Monday. She was 94. He announced on Twitter that she passed away and may God welcome her in his infinite goodness. The Brazilian president says at that moment he was preparing to return to Brazil from Suriname. President Bolsonaro was in Suriname Thursday, where he met with President Chandrika Prasad Santokhi. He was to travel to Guyana on Friday. Town Clerk Candace Nelson on Thursday chided City Mayor Yubraj Narain for stating that the central government did not provide a subvention for last year. In a letter to the mayor, she also provided details on how the allocated 30 million Guyana dollars was spent. In the wake of Mayor Narain's claim that President Irfaan Ali has ignored his request for the subvention, Ms. Nelson dispatched a letter to him stating that subvention was provided for agreed works contrary to public pronouncements. The town clerk says that as agreed by both parties, the subvention was used for the construction of the administration building and payments were made to Dave's construction and supplying establishment. The money was disbursed by check on April 30, days after the then town clerk had submitted additional information for the work program for the subvention. The current town clerk also told the mayor that more than $16.4 million was paid to the company on November 15, 2021, and 13.5 million Guyana dollars on December 21, 2021. The mayor had told the Minister of Local Government on December 2, 2021, that no allocation of subvention was given to the City Council for 2020 and 2021. But at the same time, Mr. Narain described the 30 million Guyana dollars as a grant towards the administration building. President Irfaan Ali on Thursday welcomed the re-election of Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley. She swept back to power in a snap election that saw her Barbados Labour Party clinching all 30 seats. President Ali, in a congratulatory note, told Prime Minister Mottley that her re-election provides them the opportunity to concretize plans and programs that they have discussed. The two leaders have discussed the training of about 6,000 Guyanese for the hospitality sector, as well as several initiatives to improve trade and other types of businesses. The United States is assisting Guyana's Civil Defense Commission, to strengthen its maritime oil spill prevention, planning, and response capabilities. The American Embassy says the assistance is provided by the United States Coast Guard with support from the United States Department of State's Energy and Mineral Governance Program. According to the embassy, the 6-month series of joint activities are also designed to assist Guyana in the development of a reliable national response system. The embassy explains that a virtual risk assessment workshop is scheduled for this month to build upon the progress Guyana has already made with the development of their national oil spill contingency plan and oil spill response capabilities. The U.S. Coast Guard facilitators will guide the participants through an assessment of possible oil spill scenarios in Guyana to identify the most likely and most consequential scenarios. The results will be used to identify possible improvements and update Guyana's national oil spill contingency plan. Other activities in 2022 will include virtual exercise program management training and in-person exchanges to observe oil spill response exercises. The U.S. Embassy says that this partnership is part of the continued U.S. support for energy governance and commitment to regional security to help Guyana build its disaster response capabilities. Now for the news in the region. The leader of the Barbados Labour Party, BLP, Mia Mottley, was yesterday afternoon sworn in for a second straight term as the Prime Minister of her country. The BLP made a clean sweep of all 30 seats at Wednesday's snap election. Ms. Mottley took the oaths of office before President Sandra Mason.
I, Mia Mottley, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Barbados according to law. So help me God. I, Mia Mottley, do swear that I will be faithful and loyal to Barbados, and I will uphold the Constitution and the law. And I further swear that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my ability discharge my duties as Prime Minister. So help me God.
Reacting to concerns about Barbados possibly becoming a one-party state, the Barbadian Prime Minister told a BLP victory rally early yesterday morning that her country's constitution provides for a party to win all the parliamentary seats.
It would be remiss of me not to address this one issue, because we went into this election with people accusing us of wanting to have a one-state, one-party state, when in truth and in fact, our Constitution admits in a multi-party democracy of the people giving all of the seats to one entity. I am a child of democracy.
Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley. Still in Barbados and in related news, the president of the Democratic Labour Party, Vorla de Pisa, says low voter turnout contributed to the crushing defeat at the hands of the Barbados Labour Party. Ms. de Pisa conceded defeat but said that something must be done to increase the number of voters.
It was a reckless time to call an election. The depressed voter turnout continues to be worrisome, and we do have to look for ways to address that before we find ourselves in a position where we've lost our democracy without intending it.
The president of the Democratic Labour Party, Vorla de Pisa. She says that her party will discuss the future of its leadership and review its overall performance at the snap election that was held Wednesday. The Election and Boundaries Commission blocked an estimated 5,000 persons from voting because they were COVID positive. Students across the Bahamas will return to school campuses for in-person learning on Monday. The Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Training says it made the decision on the advice of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Education Ministry says that there was a need for all to exercise extreme caution and adherence to the established health protocols. In addition, mask wearing and sanitization is mandatory along with social distancing and temperature checks. There also will be the implementation of staggered breaks, outdoor eating, and quarantine and isolation where applicable. The announcement should prove welcomed news for some parents who had been advocating for weeks for schools to reopen in a face-to-face setting. They had planned to demonstrate later this month for schools to reopen. Some parents were yesterday questioning how Fusion Superplex was being allowed to launch a virtual supervision program at its facility on Gladstone Road while schools were closed to in-person learning. Officials had planned to reopen public schools in the second week of January with a hybrid model involving face-to-face instruction. And lastly, in the region, in St. Martin, the Regional Health Agency has reported 1,580 new COVID-19 cases in St. Martin in its January 10 to 16 health bulletin. The agency also reports that a further 271 new cases were reported as of January 17 in week 3 from 1,908 tests, taking the total number of new active cases to 1,851. The rate of infection appears to be slowing down as it is in January 3 to 9 bulletin. The St. Martin Regional Health Agency had reported 2,561 new cases. The agency does not give the figure for recoveries. Total accumulated cases since the beginning of the pandemic is 9,414. The health agency added that one cluster is under investigation in St. Martin. As of January 19, Louis Constant Fleming Hospital in St. Martin currently has 20 COVID patients. There have not been any evacuations or deaths in week 2. The death toll still is at 60 in St. Martin. And here now is your international news coming from the BBC.
With the BBC News. Russia and the United States have held 90 minutes of high-level talks in Geneva to try to reduce the risk of a wider conflict in Ukraine. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov both spoke of the possibility of further discussions. James Landale has more.
They've agreed to carry on talking. They didn't stamp out in a huff. They didn't say, right, that's it, no more diplomacy. If you remember at the end of last week, after all that round of diplomacy, when the Russians had meetings with the American diplomats and diplomats from NATO and the Organization for Security in Europe, at the end of it, Russian diplomats and ministers were saying, well, look, diplomacy, it's reached a dead end. Well, they're not saying that now. And both sides are saying it's good to talk. And the hope, the expectation amongst diplomats is that while the talking continues, then perhaps there might not be any fighting.
Aid agencies say dozens of people have died and many more have been wounded in an airstrike by the Saudi-led coalition on a detention centre in northern Yemen. Anna Foster reports.
Rescue workers are still digging through the rubble at the prison in Yemen's Sada province, but hopes that they may find survivors are now fading. Reports say it was destroyed in an airstrike during another night of heavy bombardment by the Saudi-led coalition. They've stepped up their military campaign in recent days after the Houthis launched an attack on Abu Dhabi, which killed 3 people. The Houthi group now say their healthcare system is facing a mass emergency. Their health minister said medical staff were exhausted and struggling to cope with the number of casualties from the increased airstrikes.
Kurdish-led forces in northeast Syria say they killed 23 Islamic State militants who attacked a prison holding hundreds of jihadists. Mike Thompson reports.
The attack began when a car bomb exploded near the entrance to the prison in northeast Syria's Hasaka Governorate, followed by a second blast before Islamic State group fighters began attacking Kurdish security guards. Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces say 7 of their members were killed, along with 23 IS fighters. The SDF added that it's detained 89 militants in the area around the jail. In a separate attack overnight, 11 Iraqi soldiers were killed in an IS attack on an army base in the country's eastern Diyala province.
2 of the world's biggest energy conglomerates, Total Energies and Chevron, say they're pulling out of Myanmar because of human rights abuses following last year's military coup. Both firms have been operating in the country for 3 decades and are partners in the Yadana gas field in the Andaman Sea, which supplies both Myanmar and next-door Thailand. Total said the situation meant it could no longer make a positive contribution to Myanmar. World News from the BBC. Ghana's Vice President has promised government help to rebuild the community that was devastated by Thursday's huge explosion, which killed at least 17 people. On a visit to Apiete, which was completely levelled by the blast, Muhammadu Bawumia praised those involved in the rescue effort. A police official said it happened when a motorbike crashed and sparks ignited a truck carrying explosives to a gold mine. At least 2 people have been killed on the outskirts of the Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa when security forces fired tear gas and live bullets at crowds attending a religious event. Followers of the Orthodox Church, the most widely practiced faith in the country, were observing part of the Epiphany celebrations on Thursday when clashes broke out with youths from the neighbouring Oromia region. The Norwegian Foreign Ministry says a Taliban delegation will arrive in Oslo on Sunday for talks with Western officials on the humanitarian situation and human rights in Afghanistan. Newspaper reports say the delegates from the United States, Germany, Britain, France, Italy and the European Union will take part. A spokesman for the Taliban said its delegation would be led by the acting Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi. The US singer Meat Loaf, whose album Bat Out of Hell is one of the most successful in history, has died. He was 74. Born Marvin Lee Ade, Meat Loaf was noted for his powerful voice and theatrical stage presence. He spoke to the BBC's Hard Talk programme in 2016.
Oh, I don't look at myself as a big-time performer. I don't view myself in that vision. I refuse to allow them in any advertising for an album, for a concert, or anything, to use the words icon, legend, star, or rock star. To me, I'm just another person, and I have a job.
BBC News.
And that was your international news coming from the BBC. Here now is a recap of the highlights. Guyanese authorities say that a ship held in Senegal with $5 million worth of ammunition was not registered in Guyana and is not coming here. Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro has cancelled his visit to Guyana because his mother died. The town clerk tells the mayor that he is wrong on the 2021 subvention to the city. In the region, Barbados' Mia Mottley sworn in for a second straight term after Wednesday's clean sweep of all 30 seats. And the spread of the Omicron variant in St. Martin appears to be slowing down. And you had the latest bulletin for your international news coming from the BBC. And that was your major newscast. I am Jessica Daw.
This has been the news, compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom. For ongoing updates, visit demerarawaves.com, and you can check facebook.com/demwaves and twitter.com/demwaves.